but I'm totally...
You can edit it, so
I'm not even editing.
Weird.
I will edit the cameras, but it's going to be straightforward. No edits, nothing but camera switches.
That's stressful. I'm a 6.
How stressed? We did the anxiety episode on you. How stressed are you right now?
I'm a little stressed right now. It's okay. Go ahead.
Cool. Let's go.
Ready?
Welcome to the Hills and Hollows podcast. This is episode 13, and today we're going to do something completely different. Usually we have show notes, we have things that we're doing that kind of line up, questions that we've asked people, and we've plotted it all out. But moving forward in the future, we want to strip this completely down and just have a casual conversation. So today we're going to have a conversation with Kyle and Mary. They have helped through this podcast. Mary has written a lot of episodes. Kyle has written a lot of episodes. You guys have both booked a lot of guests for us. But we want to talk a little bit about this season that we went through, season 1, which was wrapping with today's episode. And then I want to give you some ideas that we're thinking about for the second season.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about that and get into that. And again, for those listening, for those watching, we're not editing this. So if we mess up,
Okay, cool.
There's no safety net. So
Yep.
if you're stressed,
Okay.
this is the time to get it out of your
Let it
system.
go.
Cool. So season 1, you guys have did a killer job with it. We had the recap episode last week
Right.
that we went through, but I want to hear maybe like, what was your favorite part? What was your favorite part of being involved with it? What was your favorite moment, your favorite guest, anything like that?
Ooh, that's good.
You go first.
I think like from the inception of the idea and then like reaching out to the people and kind of like getting that confirmation.
Right.
That was a lot of fun for me, whether I was sitting down being a part of the podcast or not. So yeah, I think it was a lot of fun just kind of checking that box.
I thought it was cool. We had a lot of people from church too.
Yeah.
That really liked the Rock Altar revival episode.
Yeah, that one was
really
cool.
cool.
And everybody was like, I had no clue that happened in Seneca or in the Mill Hill
Right.
District or anything like that. So that was a killer episode. That
Thank
was
you.
all Kyle Nicholson and Jody. Jody's
yeah.
help to, what was Jody's last name?
Smith.
Jody Smith. Anybody listening?
Yeah.
Cool.
That's
Yours,
cool.
Mary.
I don't know. I've always really enjoyed writing and like the research and writing kind of behind the scenes kind of thing. And so it got me out of my comfort zone and, just was something new and a different way that I could serve and kind of be a part of, something new. And it was great. I'm having a blast.
A lot of the church doesn't know this is kind of a staff thing, but we have these task force now, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And we have a digital media task force. We have an outreach task force. We have Foothills East task force. And what was the other one, Drew?
Spanish, yeah.
Foothills
Yeah.
Espanol.
Yeah.
Anyways, these task force.
Yes.
Obviously, I'm on the digital outreach task
Right.
force because that's my job.
What
here.
you do.
Digital media, communications, all that good stuff. So we've been trying to figure out what we can do to increase engagement on our social media posts, on
Right.
what we do, right? I watched this video on TikTok the other day. It was talking about debranding and how corporate, all the major corporations, and they used, I forget who they used, like Verizon or Pringles and a bunch of just different random corporations are realizing that people aren't connecting with them because of that. And what matters again is the people.
Man,
So we want to do that with our social media. We want to say, hey, we're done posting about, we're always going to be posting about the church. That's what we are. But we want to focus again on the people. And that's what I want to do with this podcast too,
for sure.
is to just feature stories of life change and stories of struggles. And another thing that we've been talking about, and this is what I'm going to turn it back over to you, is Kevin and Greg and I were kind of talking about like where can we meet people where they're at in terms of struggles in life and everything. So we want to focus in season 2 and get into some of those tougher conversations.
That's
so
good.
like
Right.
well, we've gone about so much about homosexuality and that the movement of that's going on right now,
Yeah.
and the abortion, both sides of the abortion
Right.
debate that are going
Yeah.
on.
Okay.
And there's so many things that people are wanting to hear about
Yeah.
that the church hasn't necessarily been providing the answers for, and we want to
No.
base that in obviously biblical truth
Right.
Yeah.
as well. But that's a direction we want to go. I want to hear your thoughts on that because
Man.
there's so much
Yeah.
to unpack there.
It is. It's packed up for
Yeah,
sure.
I think people are so hungry for answers right now, and they're just seeing stuff on Instagram, on TikTok, and stuff like that. But it's from some random person with a blue check mark that
Right.
you know,
Right.
they're not basing anything on scripture or anything on some solid principles. So I think that would be an incredible approach for people to kind of understand, even if it's something that when they hear this that they strongly disagree with,
Yeah.
but if they understand the biblical principle behind it, that would be great.
No, I think that's good. I read a book. I'm reading a book right now. What's it called? It's John Tyson, Beautiful Resistance, I think is what it is.
Okay.
And he's talking about, anybody listening or you guys, you should check it out.
Right.
But there's a section on love and hate, right? And he says society has painted this picture where if you don't side with someone's belief, then it's automatically that you hate
Or
them,
it's
right?
a sign of weakness.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like
Right.
you're so weak that you don't have a stance on this, or it's.
And that's
hard,
the thing. So
right?
they paint Christians and they paint biblical truth that Christians put out as, hey, you're not agreeing with me, so therefore you must hate me. And that's
Right.
obviously not the case.
Yeah.
And I mean, these are the kind of conversations that we want to have
That'd
on
be
season
good.
2. We were talking the other day, and even just taking on conversations like, okay, let's put someone who homeschools with someone who believes in public school
I'd be
system
really interested
and put
to
them
hear
together
that.
and say, hey, what's the pros and cons of homeschooling versus public school?
Yeah.
And taking some of these topics
Right.
and just giving them a
I
platform.
like that one. I'll do that episode.
You want to do that one with us?
Yeah, that's a good one. There's
That's awesome.
a lot of debate around that right now. So
There's so many different angles that we could kind of take these things. So
Right. Yeah, for sure.
that's good. Yeah. It takes the whole idea, of loving your neighbor. But I think people confuse loving your neighbor from accepting everything that they're
Right.
doing and stuff
Right.
like that.
To be
So
truth
these
or
will,
to be accepted. Right.
exactly. These will be great things to tackle.
No, I think that's good. And I mean, that's the approach we're taking with. We just want to have the real conversations. We have raw conversations and obviously biblically truth
Yeah. Right,
conversations.
yeah.
So we even talked about having Greg on and having Kevin on, and
Yeah.
Blaine is one of our teaching pastors too. Get Blaine
Yeah.
on here so that they can join in these conversations with us and
Yeah.
speak for Foothills as a
Yeah.
whole from a biblical truth standpoint.
Right. Well, I feel like a lot of times the church as a whole, Big C Church, kind of shies away from some of these topics
They do,
because,
yeah.
I mean, it's not going to be the most popular thing.
Right.
And, oh my gosh, heaven forbid if something you say is wrong or incorrect or perceived in a certain way, like it's a risk. And so I'm not a risk taker, but I'm here for the people that are, going about it. And I'm,
You're part of the risk taker group now, just by default
here we go.
from helping
Yeah.
out with the
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah. So, but I think that that's important too, just for a church to represent the church and just kind of just acknowledge these things
Right.
for sure.
I think on some of these issues, being quiet or silence is not always the best thing.
No,
Right.
I feel like that's where the church has gotten a
Yeah.
lot lately
Yeah.
because they're not every church. I don't want to say collectively all churches
In general,
are like this,
right,
but
generally speaking.
a lot. I mean, even just let's take church aside. People in general have gotten quiet. They don't want
Yeah.
to speak because they're afraid of speaking out and stuff. But
Yeah.
I mean, God called us. God called
Yeah.
us to preach His
Yeah.
word and to biblical truth, and that's
Yeah.
the life we're going to live.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be afraid to talk about it, and I don't
Right.
want Foothills to be afraid to talk
That's
about it.
good.
So
Right. Yeah.
that's
I
the
mean-
direction we want to move.
Hopefully some of these conversations can help relationships. I was talking with Pastor Kevin last week, and some of these things you're thinking about bringing for season 2, people may see these as like the elephant in the room type conversations.
For sure.
And we were talking about, we all know those families or those groups of people that are, you can call them like the fine family. Like, Jordan, how's everything going? Oh, it's fine. Mary, what's up? Oh, it's fine. Everything's always fine, right?
Yeah.
But the people that tackle those elephants in the room, they talk about them, they address them and fix them, because we all have them, or those
Right.
things exist.
Everybody has problems. We put on our
Yeah,
a nice
our-
suit and come
Yeah.
into
Exactly.
church and everything's great. Everything's
So
wonderful.
if we address those things, even though it's hard, but we face them head on, it ultimately healthier relationships and just better overall. So, yeah, that's great.
we've had a lot of people. Have anybody come to you guys? I have a lot of people come from the church and say, why don't we talk about this? Why don't we talk about that? Have you had any that come across you yet?
I haven't necessarily. Maybe because you're the face of it, they gravitate towards you.
Right. This is the first time we've I don't know.
You're officially becoming
We're like, oh, these are
out of the writers'
out
den.
of behind the scenes, I guess, as writers. But
Well, I've had a few people come up and say, well, I had one the other day, this past Sunday, where she was like, hey, I have adult children that are out of the house now. Well, it would be awesome to have an episode on raising your adult children and
Yeah.
still being a parent
Right,
to your
and what
adult
that looks
children
like.
and
For
how to
sure.
navigate those waters, because
Yeah.
we're adults. We have our own opinion. I
Right.
don't agree with my parents all the time in the way that I need to
right.
do
Yeah.
things or whatever else.
And there's a lot of things you go back and you're like, oh, dang, I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry, Dad.
You were
Sorry, Mom.
right on that one.
Yeah.
So-
That's my entire 20s
Yeah.
was just yeah, you guys were right. I'm sorry.
Oh, totally. I went back. I was probably 23 or so, and I apologized to my dad. I was like, I'm sorry. He's like, for what? I was
For
like,
10 years.
Like a lot of stuff. So
That's cool. But that's another thing we want to open up to. And I'm going to put it up before this podcast releases. But I'm going to leave a spot for comments and
cool.
for questions. So if you're listening or you're watching and you have an idea of hey, it'd be cool for you guys to talk about that in
sure.
season 2.
Right.
I'm going to have them leave a little email and they can email me on the team. You guys, I'll include you
Whatever,
in there
right,
too
yeah.
with different topics and different things we want to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
For sure.
awesome, guys. Well, I think that
love
wraps
that.
up the conversation. You at least know where we're heading. But for season 2, we don't have a definite start date of where we're going, but I think we're going to break for the summer and we'll record some episodes during the summer and then start releasing them once school's back in session. Maybe that. I don't know. When does school
August.
start? August?
Yeah.
August
You're the
sounds right,
teacher
Yeah.
here. So
August. I don't even want to think about it. We still have a little bit of time left. So.
yeah, you're just about to get out. So,
Yeah.
so August, sometime in August, we're going to relaunch with season 2 of the Hills and Hollows. You can watch all our past episodes at foothills.cc/Hills and Hollows. It's on YouTube. It's on Spotify. It's on iTunes. We'll launch in Google Play for this season 2. I'm working on that right now. And then if you have any questions, if you have any comments, if you have a direction that you like to see it go or a question you would have us tackle for season 2, leave that at foothills.cc/Hills and Hollows. Also, but guys, it's been a cool conversation.
Yeah,
I put you on the
thanks.
spot. You didn't know what
We
you were
had
walking
no
into.
idea, right?
Yeah.
But I think it's been good. So thanks for joining us, guys. Thanks
Sure.
for watching. Thanks for listening. And we'll see you guys next season for season 2 of the Hills and Hollows podcast.